Among us, Mr. Angshu, Abid Chakraborty already come. Welcome, Mr. Chakraborty. Saurabh,
Shayan. Shayan, are you hearing me? Please wait for a while. So we will start the meeting soon.
Shayan come.
Are you hearing me, Shayan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So let's start, right? So
Yes.
okay.
Actually, I didn't realize that my network was lost. So should we start?
Shayan, let's start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I am audible this time. On behalf of the Science Dialectica team, I, Shayan Bayan, welcome all of you in the first international conference on convergence of interdisciplinary science, IC2IS 2022. Science Dialectica has been committed to the growth of scientific temperament throughout the nation and to continue the spirit of nationality by our SD team. It is quite essential to commence the event with our national anthem. In this regard, Dr. Anshuman Rai Chaudhary will take the lead part. I request all of you to stand for the national anthem. Let us stand for our pride. Dr. Anshuman, over to you.
मनयधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्कल जलधितरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे थैंक यू
Thank you, Dr. Anshuman. Now, for every big milestone to reach, every organization or body requires a leading personality. And today, for this event, we also have a leading person who has taken all the pain to organize this event. So I request our convener, Dr. Shobhan Ghosh, Assistant Professor ICFI Tripura, to take the steering of the event. Dr. Ghosh, so over to you.
Hello. I hope I'm audible. Okay.
Yes, of course, you're audible.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I want you all to join first international conference.
Shobhan, you have a network issue.
So,
You just check your connectivity.
is it lost? Am I audible?
Yeah, now you are.
Okay. So I invite you all to join first international conference, Interdisciplinary 2022, organized by Scintia Research Foundation, is thematic, non-profitable and non-government organization and come up of SRF. And SRF, with Science Dialectica's introduction, already one step ahead from the very beginning steps. Now, the thing is that there are several short-term and long-term visions of SRF. I'll just read out a few of them in front of you. To develop the fundamental knowledge for new science of engineering research corner on both science and technology, to develop an interest on research for fresh and inquisitive UG or PG students, to guide the students for enjoying the practice of problem solving and thinking through an interdisciplinary knowledge, innovation practicing, to make a dialectical type of discussion on cutting-edge problems in a popular scientific approach, where anyone can adopt easily with others to set the global solutions of the problems, to orient the eyes of researcher and along industry with other academics, then to make between research. And as long-term vision of research, we have in mind to encourage to set up the start business for the members in future, to make an innovation hub for our research. In fact, the innovation hub and now it's very well innovation like that. Industrial consultancy and development products. Science Dialectica is an open access magazine. It's multidisciplinary, rapid publication with original peer-reviewed contributions on the science and engineering background. It has an aim to set an e-platform to connect the academia with the industry. This magazine has also an objective to develop the knowledge base by connecting the experienced researchers and academicians with industry personals, which will encourage students to be involved in interdisciplinary research. So interdisciplinary, that's the main point. We're coming not only from the background of SD or SRF, also of this particular conference. First International Conference on Convergence of Interdisciplinary Science 2022 is an endeavor from us to flap our wings. All of us know what sort of life actually we lived in last 2 years, and many of us lost our near and dear ones, the job, and basically many of us lost the identity. But the progress of science was technology tied us all the time in this online mode, so that today we are together to discuss our research. Whether in today's time you are in industry or you are in academics, one cannot ignore the other, one cannot walk alone. And not only this is true for the industrial academics, it is at the same time true for the one subject to the other subject. Fine. So there is no basic barrier, there is no basic deviation or the inter-between lines from one to other subjects in today's time. Whatever the challenges are coming today, I can't say that the impossible or improbable, but they're the mind-blowing, we can say. And in that particular context, today we need to put our hands together. Whether somebody is in mathematics background or someone from physics, chemistry, someone from engineering, someone from some other scientific area, whatever background we are from, we need to put our hands together to solve the problems, to carry the legacy of the human civilization and the scientific community and fraternity. So to tackle newer and newer problems, we need to convert your ideas at a point, and then the constructed all tools, whatever they are. Hence, the range of our spectrum is really long and colorful. So, actually, within a very short period, we started doing all these things, and we basically part of the stage of speakers to what response from our beloved. So now it's the time that we are going to have one more thing. Our corresponding editors and our technical team members so each and every whatever the literary work with means following the intellectual property rights without deviating from the norms. We gathered the abstracts, and today it is going to be released at this moment. So that is going to mark the beginning of the conference. So just try to present it in front of you.
Shobhan, you may switch up turn off your video so that you can get a good connectivity.
Okay. I mean, sharing.
We are Shobhan. We don't see anything.
I'm trying. Just a minute.
Okay. Otherwise, let me give. I will share. Okay. You just present it.
Yeah, I have given the link.
No issue. No issue. I'll do.
Okay, fine.
Let me do.
Okay, fine.
So I hope it is visible, right?
Yes.
So I am just flipping that page. So this is our abstract book of this conference. So on behalf of Dr. Shobhan Ghosh, I am presenting this connectivity. So this is our abstract book, the front page of this abstract book. And this is a message from directors of Scintia Research Foundation. This is a page from the message, convener message. So Dr. Shobhan, you may speak on this if you want. Do you have plan to speak on this, Shobhan? Oh, you have already presented, right? Okay. So this is the keynote from one of the respected editors of Science Dialectica, and the conference organizing committee is the editorial board of Science Dialectica and scientific team of Science Dialectica. This is our program schedule. So today's event, and this is the tomorrow's event, the 2 sessions. This is the abstract of the contents of the abstracts. So first, we have the first talk of the So this is the abstract of one of our editors, Professor Abhishek Chowdhury. I think he is in conference room already. This is another. So likewise, there are so many abstracts are there. I'm just flipping those. And these are the abstracts from student side. These will be presented as a poster presentation on tomorrow from the student side. So that's all from our side. So this is the abstract of the last page of the abstract book. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurav. And so now it's the time to begin the session. And for that purpose, we are going to start our first session. And the first session of today will be chaired by Dr. Sritama Mukherjee. I think Dr. Sritama already joined. Am I not? If I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So, is England. He received her PhD from
Sorry, Shobhan.
Yeah.
Please mute your mic, mic. So we are not getting anything from your side. So maybe let Sritama introduce herself. Okay. He will introduce herself only. So that's better because we are not getting any sound. So it is your voice is breaking. Maybe that.
Okay, that due to network issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Please.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobhan. Thank you, organizers, for having me here. Hope I'm audible to people. Yeah, okay. So good morning and good afternoon to all of you. I am Sritama Mukherjee. I right now I am a postdoctoral scholar in Aalto University, and I received my PhD from IIT Madras, and I mostly work on biopolymeric and cellulosic nanocomposites for their various applications such as water purification, fire retardants, sensors, etc. I'm also a part of Science Dialectica. So on behalf of all of us, I first welcome all the attendees of the conference. And as Dr. Shobhan rightly said, that in this gloomy atmosphere of COVID and stuff, let's just enjoy and celebrate science, and especially the interdisciplinary science, where he rightly mentioned that all of us from all the streams and backgrounds, we have to put our hands together to actually solve the problems of the modern age. So without further ado, I would like to start the session of talks of highly the speakers, and I will start introducing our first speaker of the day, Mr. Abir Chakraborty. Mr. Abir Chakraborty is head TRADC, Senior Vice President, Grasim Industries in Aditya Birla Group. He has 26 years of industry and management experience and senior management level experience. He has also worked in the field of textile production, ranging from denim to classical shirting bottoms and knits, global sourcing, supply chain, quality assurance, and product development. And he is currently associated with Aditya Birla Group as a head of application development center for MMCF fibers. And he will also be joining in the advisory board of SRF. So welcome, Mr. Abir Chakraborty, for your talk. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Sritama, and all the dignitaries. I'm really honored and privileged to be part of this first international conference. I hope I am audible. Okay. So actually means if already I'm probably running out of time, I'm having another 15 minutes, and that might be more than sufficient from the point of view what I will be discussing. I got this invitation and from Shubhranshu, who is my college junior, during a discussion about 36 hours back. And exactly we were discussing in the field of interdisciplinary scope of innovation. And yes, I have worked in the field of in the front end of the business at a point of time during my entire career. But specifically, I love innovation. Means everybody having their own way of survival, but for me, doing something for the mankind or presently for the masses, it excites me. So when I'm handling that, MMCF is man-made cellulosic fiber, which we mostly know as viscose or modal or lyocell as a whole. It is coming from wood. Some of the woods we must be knowing, which is like eucalyptus, or in the Western world it would be birch or pine kind of material. Majorly it is coming from Canada, Sweden, South Africa kind of. We have our own plants there, and from there we extract cellulose and convert that into fibers. So it is as good as cotton, and in some cases it is better than cotton. And if we say why it is cotton, means cotton is our target. Actually, we have a myth that cotton is the best fiber in the world, and most of the people prefer cotton, but cotton is having its own certain limitation and its footprint on this earth. If you consider a pair of jeans, it is taking 7,000 gallons of water from its cultivation to the shelf, and post washing also. So we have managed that whole show in less than 350 liters of water. So it is much more sustainable, and going forward probably, and that is the reason our fiber is growing. In last 20 years, it is becoming one of the fastest growing fiber. But the way when I was talking to Shubhranshu, I'm back to that front. I see, means it pains literally being part of this part of world. People go to bed hungry. A lot of people not having food. At the same time, we see that 190,000 tons of food grains getting just lost from FCI godowns or from its source to the shelf just because of wrong way of packaging. At the same time, Shubhranshu is in a business which is suppose jute. It is one of the cash crop of West Bengal, but eventually it is not growing. For last 100 plus years, it is not growing, and it is putting huge amount of pressure on exchequer because of certain issues, and it is having huge prospect. I personally feel it is having a huge prospect. So we were discussing on that segment. Then we got to know what are the limitations. So here, when it is an interdisciplinary kind of a discussion, what we see always it is excites. Means I may not be where I am seeing that here we have people from artificial intelligence to chemistry to mathematics and physics, and across globe they have their own expertise. But as a whole, I see most of the cases, even my wife is also and from chemistry background, and at a point of time they are often thinking that, oh, my innovation is not probably serving the purpose what I thought of. There are lots of streams crossing, and probably we have not made those bridges. And this kind of a forum probably would be the best possibility of creating bridges, where I may be having, I might be having certain amount of expertise in my subject, and others will be having. So if we sit together, just do a brainstorm, coin some word and concept, probably I think it would be much faster. Means when I see one of the most successful models here, even if you see that probably it's a television to Facebook today, it's one of the successful business models. People thought of connecting each other right from postcard, then we got to internet, and then now it is live and people. So application has happened. Unless there is the right application, and right application often is missing, because I have certain expertise, but I don't know the other part of the business. If I'm very strong, if technical people are very strong in their technology, but the commercial part they are not. Commercial people are very strong in the business presentation, case studies, but they are not. They don't know how to take this, develop or tweak this product to make it suitable for a particular segment of customers. So that way, probably it would be ideal platform. So when I was sharing certain concepts and probably a few slides with the team and especially with Shubhranshu today morning, exactly Dr. Sritoma's word when she said that water. And I was going through one article yesterday where World Economic Forum is saying even in Antarctica, water or ice is getting contaminated and it is having huge amount of steroid, it is having huge amount of antibiotics into it. Marine lives is getting affected. A few days back I was working on a project, it's a vegan leather. So leather is a huge business in the world. India is holding the 4th position. China is obviously holding the 1st position, holding 25% capacity of the world. But the tannery is releasing all possible kind of chemicals, and it is going to water, and that water going to agriculture, that is coming back to us. Eventually, when science, from a point of view, we know exactly what are the problems, but how to resolve it, probably I don't know. If we work together in a cross-functional way, and that is the way I have seen, at least in Aditya Birla Group, we are into almost every business. We are world's 4th largest cement producer. We are having our textile business. We have our fiber business, metal business, copper business, finance business. So we were everywhere, and someone's waste today is becoming a raw material for our cement business. Otherwise, cement would have created even more pollution. Cement is looking for certain amount kind of solution from us. They are coming to us for a sort of innovation. So cross-functionality, unless there, then things becoming very slow. And speed to market matters. Means it is a competitive world. If what we are innovating today probably is similar field, 10 more people working across 10 different research centers, who will be publishing their paper first, it would be considered. And if somebody is taking that concept into the commercial level, then even after working 5 years, 6 years on a project, I'm saying there is no hope to it. So when we will be putting it in a platform, if any fine tuning, any sharpening of those concepts are required, it would be ideal. Means from my water purification to, if I come to another level, which I shared that as my second concept, that we human are creating 54 million tons of garment waste every year. We just order on online, Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, it is getting delivered, and it is in India. If you consider the situation in Western world, it is even faster. People wearing it once or twice and are garbaging it, and that is creating a huge fiasco in this world. And less than 1% is getting recycled. And we are, as a company, there are a couple of companies in Western Europe as well as in US. I had a meeting day before yesterday. So where people converting those garment waste into the fresh cellulose, and it is becoming even stronger fiber than cotton. There is a cotton niche material, it is a cellulosic material, and it is the most abundant in nature is cellulose. And there are different forms. We may not be able to identify, but it is having each and every such scope. I am saying the application of science and technology. And if I know a part, another means it is a jigsaw puzzle solving kind of a situation. Means I'm saying probably I have to go through, means I was going through the whole list of speakers. Probably you people, if you sit together, and probably a lot of, means if your experience put together, it would be more than 500 years of experience together. And I don't think any challenge will remain challenge. It will remain obstacle if 500 hours of this kind of experience are put together, and then things would be absolutely clear. But only thing is, I'm working in a silo, another person is working in a silo, another person is probably the best person in the world, but not having that platform to showcase the talent. So we will be honored if it is means if I'll be really honored if I be part of this, and that definitely I'm seeing some of the contents here. It would be having immediate industrial application, and I will not be taking much time. I think I'm done from my end, just to bring pieces together. Then rest is to the eminent scientists who can take their discussion forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abir, for your encouraging words, and so rightly said that that today somebody's waste is somebody else's raw material, and this can be witnessed in all kind of spheres. And believe me, from the place where I am joining right now, which is Helsinki in Finland, here people are using wood and cellulose and agricultural waste for supplementing like cellulose to various fields, like right from textile to water to electronic batteries to even for paving roads. So yeah, I mean, we can just imagine the scope of interdisciplinary science and the importance of working towards it.
Exactly, as you said, means when we are extracting lignin from the, means we often say, means probably Shubhranshu can speak more about it. Lignin is the road blocker for jute. It is becoming very stiff, but that lignin is using as a 3D printers printing ink. So raw material. So we just need to join those dots, and that can create the miracle. We need not create something out of the blue. Probably someone's waste, as you say, that someone's waste can be a very precious raw material for me. Exactly so.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words. And we still have, I guess, 5 minutes or so. So if anybody wants to interact or have any questions for Mr. Abir, please go ahead. We are having some time with us. Okay, so if no questions are there, so we will proceed ahead of very interesting talks by scientists from all over India and across the globe. And of course, if anybody has any question at any point of time, please don't hesitate to write it in the chat. We will be having a 5 minutes of question answer session after each of the talks, and if anybody's question remains, then we can have an interactive session at the last if we are getting some surplus time with us. So thank you again, and before proceeding with the talks of today, I would like to introduce one of the editors of Science Dialectica, who has joined, and he is Abhishek Chaudhary, and Dr. Abhishek is currently working as an associate professor in IISER Mohali, and he has done various postdoctoral researches at very many places, and he has done a lot of research on analytical approaches and computational methods to investigate the dynamics of the system, ranging from cell membrane to cell cytoskeleton to polymers and colloids in confinement. So welcome, Dr. Chaudhary, to today's conference. And our next speaker is Dr. Mohendra Roy. To introduce Dr. Mohendra, he is an assistant professor in the School of Technology, Pandit Deen Dayal Energy University, Gandhinagar. He was a postdoctoral fellow at Delta NTU Corporate Lab of NTU, Singapore from 2017 to 19. And he has won many accolades and has published in several high quality research papers in various journals. So I would cut short of this and directly provide the floor to Dr. Mohendra. And please, you're welcome with your talk. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Am I audible? Yes, thank you. So I'm sharing my screen, so please let me know whether it is visible or not. One second, please. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. I have to again reopen.
No problem.
Is it visible now?
No, I cannot see. Yeah, it is coming probably.
I guess it is visible now.
Yes, yeah, it's coming now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do full screen, I guess.
Sure. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
In full screen?
Yes.
I guess. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So myself, Mohinder, so currently I am associate professor at Department of ICT, School of Technology, Pandit Dindayal Energy University. So my today's talk will be briefly on artificial intelligence in material engineering, especially, though the title is material science. So applications of artificial intelligence in material science. Quickly, I'm going through the brief introduction of this. So if I go by definition of intelligence, what is intelligence? No? So if you go by the quotation of Einstein, so it is actually the imagination which actually brings the intelligence in the creatures, okay? Whether it's a living creature or maybe in terms of the machines also we can think in the same line. But though the theoretical definition of what should be the content of intelligence, what are the aspects of intelligence, if we have to bring in theoretical or definition, then we have to go back to the year 1985, where Robert Sternberg actually bring up this concept, or you can say the theory. What are the aspects that actually, or attributes that actually the constituents of intelligence? So if I have to say some material or some machines or any creature fall in the category of having some degree of intelligence, then those creatures or the machines or the entity must show, or you can say must have few degree of this kind of these three attributes. Actually, those attributes are analytical capability. They must possess some degree of capacity in terms of analytical attributes, and also creativity is another aspect of the you can say intelligence, as well as the practical you can say, implementation of those analytical and creative nature of this creatures. So altogether, or combinations of both all these, as well as maybe one of these attributes also can make a system intelligent. So if I bifurcate all these three categories in further, so what we mean by analytical aspect means what are the constituents of analytical capacity. So the capacity of discrimination. So it also falls under the category of analytical capacity. Capacity to compare, capacity to have logical interpretation, capacity to have capacity to do some arithmetic operation. So all these attributes falls under the analytical capacity. Similarly, for creativity, so capacity of imagination, capacity of intuition, capacity of integration, all these flavors comes under the category of creativity. Similarly, for practical uses, so capacity to learn from the experience means if we apply all this analytical capacity and creative using those capacity, if I do something, if the creatures or the intelligence system doing something, they must have the capacity to learn from their experiences based on these analytical and creative capacities. So altogether, with some degree here and there, with the combination of all these three categories of attributes, if a system possesses all these categories in different degrees also, we can attribute that that system is having some degree of intelligence. Now, what will happen if a machine or any system have all these capabilities in its fullest potential? Okay, so that is one of the you can say research topic, as well as one of the hot topic nowadays. If a system can possess all these attributes in its fullest potential, what will happen? So we will discuss this thing in later part of this talk. So if something, this kind of scenario arises, then how we should tackle those kind of, what will be the consequences and how we should tackle of those kind of scenarios. Now, how we are going to judge whether a system is an intelligent system or not? Having said that they possess some degree of the whatever attributes we have discussed till now. So there is a famous test for these that is called Turing test, proposed by Professor Alan Turing quite a long back, but it is still applicable. Okay, so the method is that now if we have two systems, okay, we don't know whether it's a living being, means like human, or whether a machine. If we keep both them in different, keep both them in different rooms, and then we are accessing information to both of them, but we don't know which room belongs, what machine is there in which room. So in that case, if a person, means if that person who is now having discussion with these entities, if they cannot distinguish whether, especially in terms of text, if they cannot distinguish from where, which is machine or which is a human being or which is an intelligent, living intelligent system, then the system, which is an artificial system, which also in conversation with the human being, that system having the potential similar to that, similar to the creature or the intelligent creature or living creature. So that is the you can say the way by which we can find out whether a system is having the degree of intelligence same to the living creature or not. So, but this is all text based. Currently, in current scenario, it is almost impossible to distinguish. Why? Because nowadays there are so many new algorithms coming up. You may be probably heard about recent findings by the famous company which is funded by Elon Musk called OpenAI, which is actually the company which is responsible for democratization of AI. But they come up with a very powerful algorithm which can write any kind of novel, or which can synthesize text phrases in such a way that a human level expert also cannot distinguish that one, or you cannot distinguish between which one is written by human or which one is written by that algorithm. That algorithm also now being used to develop auto generation of coding. Means whatever software engineers are nowadays doing, their job is at stake, because this algorithm is almost like high level, having high level accuracy in generating the code, programming code languages, means the writing of code in any programming language. So in that context, with that degree of complexity of showing the intelligence, it is very difficult to distinguish which one is coming from a intelligent system and which one is actually coming from human. So in a nutshell, what I want to say that that a machine nowadays at the verge of having the intelligence almost like human, though they are now in narrow AI. So based on their capabilities, we can categorize the AIs into three major categories. Okay. Now I will give you the definitions, all these definitions. So first one is narrow AI, where AI is very much specific. Means the development of AI is very much specific and target oriented or goal oriented. GTP3 also a target oriented, where their objective is to synthesize text, or you can synthesize some text information, or as well as the whatever we do in terms of the reading. But others than that, those gadgets like Google Assistant, whatever you are using, there is speech-based. Though they are speech-based, you can distinguish a little bit due to the you can say fragmentation of their speech in their speech, but it is almost like nowadays human like you can say conversation you can do with them, that kind of assistance, similar for the Amazon Alexa. So you can do continuous conversation if you didn't break the conversation topic. So those AI are generally more specific and only oriented to only speech or text like. So that's why these are narrow. Even though those development like Tesla's driverless car, means autopilot system, is specifically designed to drive the car only. They cannot go and cook for you. So those specifically target AI, the development, though they are better than human being in their prospective area or respective area. So they are narrow AI. But one degree above that, if any artificial system possesses all these aspects of human intelligence, and they have all the capability like human, then there is called artificial general intelligence. Still, we are very far from that situation, but whatever development is currently happening, eventually we are going in that path. Means in near future, there will be a system which maybe have the capacity in every aspect of human intelligence. Now, one degree above that, which I already discussed in previous slide, maybe what will happen if all these aspects having the full potential in a particular machine. So that scenario is called artificial superintelligence, when it will surpass the human level intelligence. Still it's far, but the concept of Skynet in the movie Terminator is one of the concepts of artificial superintelligence, when machine will dominate the world. And there are two schools of thoughts in this, in our research community, AI research community. One school of thought actually advocating that there is a possibility of ASI, but another school of thought is there, where they are saying that it is almost impossible. So, but we never know, because still this is very far from whatever happening currently. But the people like Michio Kaku from physics, those who are no physics background, know about him, must also Stephen Hawking. So they are advocating that it is possible, that the scenario of artificial superintelligence is possible. Also, the tech guys like Elon Musk also advocating that artificial superintelligence is in near future we are going to see that kind of scenario. So we must prepare for those kind of scenario, and how we are going to tackle this. These are all ethical issues which also coming up nowadays as a research topic in artificial intelligence. Okay, now come to what are the risks and advantages, as well as what will be the future. Okay. So advantages, as you all nowadays is witnessing, the Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa, all these are the product of this recent development of in the field of AI. And similarly, your self-driving car nowadays, this is a buzzword in terms of applications of AI. Similarly, the smart cities, due to these emerging IoT devices, Internet of Things, as well as there are several real-life applications in terms of the diagnostics of different type of diseases, especially diabetic retinopathy, which is also coming up. This research actually coming up from Google, as well as the different detection of different cancer cells, as well as there are so many nowadays research coming up application of AI for predicting or detecting the severity of COVID patients, especially by observing the radiography of the patients. So there are all these things are there nowadays, and this is already in application phase, means production phase. So these are advantages, obviously, but there are some risks also there. If some vested interested group or people are using for their benefit. So one of these apparent misuse of this kind of technology is developing self-aware, or you can say fully autonomous killing machine. So already these kind of researches are going on, and the products are being developed, and these are already you can say in the practical field. Though they are not being used without a human loop, but they have the capability to do the selection of target as well as the release of weapon by their, means the decision process will be fully autonomous. There will be no human in the loop. That facility is already there, but due to the ethical concern, still those kind of scenario never been used. But we cannot deny that it will not be there in future. So similarly, these are the examples where the AI, autonomous, you can say decision capability already being infused. So recently, the DARPA come up with this kind of idea to provide fully autonomous decision-making process and infused in drones, okay, where there will be no human in the loop, because there were some incident earlier where human had to take some decision for releasing the weapon, but due to the human nature, they didn't release the weapon. in that scenario, where human empathy may superpass the decision-making process, in that kind of scenario, AI may take over and may release the weapon. So, in those cases, these are the, you can say, bad example of where AI can be used in a negative way. So, another risk, what we are trying to solve is as a researcher of AI community, that all the development, whatever currently happening, is basically based on deep neural network. More than 90% of the development, whatever seeing you are as a application of AI, is basically coming up due to the development of deep neural network. And why this is possible? Because recent development in the high performance computing machine, especially the GPUs, which enables the realization of those very complex neural network training. Due to that, it is possible. Nowadays, you can see there is an increase booming in the field of AI. It is not like that these theories which currently we are using, it is not there even, it was there even in 80s and 60s. But problem is that we didn't have that kind of competition capacity. Whether it's a text-based, whether video, text, video images, as well as those signals which are coming from this IoT devices, different varieties of sensor signals. All those putting together, we can train AI model for whatever desired work or desired objective we want to do. But all this development, having said that, this actually, due to this deep neural network development, booming in the deep neural network development, and problem with that kind of algorithm is that these are completely black box. A developer, even the designer of this neural network, after the training, they don't know for what attributes actually the decision was being made by the algorithm. Okay, so we cannot go inside the neural network. So if it is a very deep neural network, we cannot pinpoint for what reason, for which neuron it is actually the decision is influenced. Means for what aspects of the input actually decision is being influenced. So it is completely unexplainable. Okay. So there is another field nowadays coming up, which is called explainable AI, where researchers are trying to develop AI systems or responsible for whatever decision they are making, that there should be some degree of explainability. So that is a bigger, if you don't know for what reason the decision was being made, then this is a very risky affair. For small application, it is okay, but if it is if the decision is like resulting like life and death, especially in the scenarios like wherever you are applying this kind of AI in autonomous killing machine, then it's the ethical issues also coming up with that kind of scenario. So we have to make AI much more responsible compared to whatever in current stage we are having. Now, what the future? The future is, you may aware about this competition, which was in March 2016 between DeepMind's AlphaGo and the Lee Sedol of South Korea. So, which is generally considered as a benchmark of the AI development. Why? Because the Go, the board game called Go, having the complexity about 10 to the power almost like 500, which is far more complex to solve even using the supercomputer. Means the degree of complexity for a next move, whatever move you are doing in that book, like in your chess game, the degree of complexity for next move is about 10 to the power 120. But in terms of Go, it is like 10 to the power 500 almost. So the degree of complexity is much more higher that it is almost like impossible to solve using a supercomputer. And this game is not like chess, where all these rules are being placed. Go actually intuitive game where the fashion, the way it is being played, actually having you need some degree of intuition. The degree of intuition using rule-based mechanism, developing by rule-based mechanism like we do in computer programming language, it is almost impossible. Given the intuition capacity is actually a far more complex intelligent attributes compared to logical attributes. So we can program the logical attributes easily by rule-based programming language, but programming a intuition, developing a intuition-based mechanism using a rule-based, logical-based programming method, it is almost impossible. Almost impossible. It is completely impossible. So we need some different mechanism by which we can give intuition to a machine. So the Go, which is developed by Google's AlphaGo, Google's AlphaGo means DeepMind's AlphaGo. The company DeepMind actually created this, and DeepMind now currently owned by Google. So it is, we can say, Google's AlphaGo. So they come up with this algorithm, which is based on reinforcement learning on top of the neural network. So it can, with this competition, generally, in this competition between Lisedol and AlphaGo, we can see that AlphaGo beat Lisedol in 5:4, means AlphaGo won 4 matches, Lisedol only 1 match won by Lisedol. So Lisedol is one of the top player in the game called Go. So that's why this is being considered as one of the milestone in AI development. And that from that time, there is a sharp increase in, there is a buzzword. This buzzword actually, the AI actually, the booming of AI actually coming from those few of these milestones achieved by the AI community. So recently, OpenAI also come up with this, their own algorithm to play Dota 2, which is also a strategic game, which is almost impossible to crack by using even a supercomputer. So all this development reflecting that we are near the verge of having AI system which will be more like human being, though they are now in the narrow phase because they are designed for only a specific purpose. But think about that: if we have a system which have the capability in all different aspects of human life, far more superior than human being in all aspects of human life, then we may have this kind of scenario where human will dominate the world. So these are the futures, and still we are not in that stage. But eventually, as the progress, we can see the trend of this progress, eventually it will be. So what is the solution? Now many people are advocating to merge this kind of digital intelligence, this artificial intelligence, with the human intelligence. So Elon Musk is one of them who advocating, why not we merge the digital intelligence with our biological intelligence. So that is one of the solution people are advocating. Okay, if we have to survive in that kind of scenario where human will be more superior than, a machine will be more superior than human being, then the solution is, why don't we fuse those intelligence in our brain? So there are lots of researches are going on, even where we are doing at the time of postdoc, means that how to integrate those intelligence systems, silicon intelligence or digital intelligence with the human level intelligence. So these are the researchers at NTU where researchers are trying to fuse the digital intelligence by, you can say, giving the signal from the silicon chip to the these biological creatures and trying to control their behavior. Okay, so recent company called Neuralink, which is funded by Elon Musk, they are developing this kind of chip, which can be implanted, possibly we can implant in our brain, and then we can directly communicate through internet to the other living being as well as whatever intelligence we have in the digital scenario. Means once you connect it to the internet, whatever downloading, you actually connect to the whole world, and whatever information you need, you can download directly from the internet. So that is the basic concept. Still, it is not being fully realized, but whatever development, you can go to the site of Neuralink, and the progress they are making, eventually we are going in that direction where it will be feasible to infuse the chip inside our brain, and then we can directly communicate to the others through the internet, and whatever intelligence required, we can directly download. So this is the future. In that direction we are moving, and this looks like scary, but it is eventually going to be a reality. And for that, whatever disruption in the technological space it is going to be, and as well as the consequences in the society it will be, then for that we have to be prepared for that. Now coming to the next topic, out of all this development, what kind of development?
I'm sorry to interrupt in between, but you are slightly overshooting your time, so I guess you are having a couple of minutes probably.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
so what are the current applications of AI people are having in this different domain of material science? So, as we mentioned, there are different applications in the speech and text. Similarly, there are algorithms nowadays developing for synthesizing or predicting the combinations of different material for a desired property. Okay, so like DFT, you can find out what will be the different characteristics, or whether it's a electronic structure or whether it's in terms of conductivity. Though DFT can give you the most of the prediction, but there it takes time to simulate all those things. But nowadays there are machine learning algorithms which can do the same kind of prediction, but in a very short period of time, within a few seconds compared to few weeks, which actually taken by this DFT analysis. So this group actually coming up this kind of machine learning algorithm. So AD, Sendek, so they proposing that they are claiming that those analysis which you can do in terms of electronic structure using DFT, that can be done by their machine learning model within a very short span of time. So there is one kind of application of AI in material engineering. Similarly, so I am quickly going through this one. So you can go to this NIST website as well as Kamal Chaudhary's website as well as his paper. So he really doing a great job in terms of providing a database of all this material which actually being generated by DFT and other molecular simulation, and which can be used for the training of the neural network or training of AI. So a remarkable work by him and his group, especially he is from NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology of US, and within very short span of, he is very young, but within very short span of time, he come up with a very huge data sets of all these materials and different tools he have developed. So we must accomplish, or we must actually encourage him to come up with this kind of data set, more and more data, this kind of data set, which actually be useful for training of AI algorithm. So, so you can go through this kind of data set as well as the tools which designed by NIST by his team, and you can utilize all these in your research work. Okay, so there are so many different tools, especially DFT, as well as molecular modeling and simulation. So, and the databases, especially. The problem is you may have tool, but if you want to develop AI algorithm from scratch by your own, then there is a scarcity of data set. The problem of the material science community, what we feel from AI perspective, I was both these fields because my background is from physics, but currently I am deeply in AI research. But what I feel that material science community are not open to share their work in terms of early release of papers or early research of work. Only they share their work after publication, but before publication they don't want to share anything. So that is happening. But in computer science society, you can see the opposite trend. Even we develop anything, immediately we share and then get the feedback from the researchers and then we publish. So generally our preprint is available prior to the publication. So if you go archive, so lots of researches we are going to find in computer science domain, but very few researches we are going to find as a preprint in archive in terms of material science or as well as from physics background. So that is the main problem we are seeing, that you guys, those who are in material science are not open to share your research in open community. Those actually hinders in the development of this kind of algorithm. Actually, if I need data set, we don't have the source from where we can collect the data. Those actually can be translated to a good AI algorithm, which actually going to in turn eventually going to help accelerate the research of material engineering. So with that, I want to conclude here because I am running out of time. But my humble request to all the material science community that please be open for sharing your research prior to publication. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, for this exciting talk and taking us through the review of the past, present, and future of AI. And personally, I got to learn a lot of about its basics, at least. So we will just take a quick question from Mr. Shubhranshu before proceeding for the next speaker. Mr. Shubhranshu.
Welcome, Dr. Mahendra. I am Shubhranshu Bose. For question, in artificial intelligence, there is several algorithms, and in material science, what should be used? What is more popular algorithm in material science used? More precise, in this type of stochastic environment, is the Markov approach is applicable for this type of stochastic environment, or any other?
I understand what kind of direction you are asking for the question. The Markov rules you can use, but only thing is that now due to the development of these deep learning approaches, so better to use the potential of deep learning compared to the traditional statistical based method.
Okay.
Because statistical based method is still you can say you need you need to trick or give at the time of development of the algorithm, you have to tune it as far as the requirement. But in terms of deep learning, so the advantage in this kind of deep neural network is that the features can be learned by itself. You don't have to tweak it, or you don't have to pre-process, or you don't have to give instruction for what kind of attribute it should be incorporated as input.
If we want to fusion between neural network and reinforcement learning algorithms, is it possible in this case? Fusion between neural network and reinforcement learning.
It is already there.
Okay.
It is already there.
Okay.
And if you go by DeepMind's website, so they have already published so many open access they provide the open access to their algorithm. So they actually use reinforcement learning, especially incorporation in the deep neural network. So the AlphaGo is a culmination, or you can say result.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Nanda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. We will proceed with the next speaker of the day. So our next speaker is Dr. Raluca and Camillu.